I'm going to start with bedding plants because bedding plants is always a topic in April, even though this year the garden centres are closed, so it's relatively more difficult to get a hold of bedding plants, but a lot of retailers online are selling them. So most bedding plants are tender, and the question I often get asked is, when can I plant out my bedding plants? And the answer is not yet. Although the country varies, there's about 6 weeks difference in the coming of spring, and there's a significant difference in temperature between Scotland and Cornwall. So any advice is tempered where you are. Most places will still get cold weather and a frost in April. Indeed, having had a glorious Easter, we're now talking about temperatures and ground frosts. Bedding plants, tender, coming from places like South Africa, originating from places like South Africa, they do not like cold. They will not tolerate frost, and you shouldn't plant them out during a cold period, because if you can imagine, they've been grown in a perfect environment, nice and warm, exact amount of required rainfall, and then we put them out in an English spring and it shocks them. And quite often you'll look at the bedding plants and think, oh, they're not growing, why aren't they growing? And it's because they've gone out in a cold spell. If you're buying bedding plants now, or they arrive in a cold spell, keep them under glass, keep them in a greenhouse, conservatory, indoors, in a spare bedroom, anywhere, but don't put them outside till the risk of frost is gone. So there are exceptions, and these sweet peas are one such exception. Sweet peas are half-hardy annuals. These were seeded earlier on in the month in the greenhouse, and as you can see, they've grown very well and shortly be planting them out. But I do want to demonstrate one thing about sweet peas. Now, sweet peas are one of our favourite summer annuals, and they are beautiful, and I grow them every year, even though they are quite faff. To get the maximum amount of flowers from your plant at this stage, where they've got a bit of leggy growth, it's really important that you pinch out or cut out the top growth. So if you see here, that's the growth point. I'm going to take it back on each and every one of them. What this does, and these two at the end I've done earlier, hopefully you can see these on camera, but what I've done, where that's been done earlier, you can see it's thrown out 2 more shoots, as has this one. This was cut back earlier as well. So when you take out the growing point, what you do is you make the plant throw out a shoot so that you get more stems from the single plant, and that ultimately will mean more flowers in the summer. So it might seem a bit drastic, and you think, oh, I'm cutting off all the growing points. It will be all right. Trust me, I've done this dozens of times before, and they will grow all the better for it, and you will have a lot more sweet peas in the summer, which obviously will be beautiful.